Yes, good evening. Namaste, Shubha Sandhya, Susandhya to all the participants of this very, very interesting, very important, very special webinar to commemorate, to observe, to celebrate Swami Vivekananda's 158th birthday, which is also called the National Youth Day. And wishing all the participants, their colleagues, their friends, relatives, and family members, and the citizens of India a very happy Sankranti, a very happy Pongal, and may Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sharda Devi, and Swami Vivekananda bless all of you with strength, faith, joy, peace, wisdom in your life and in your work. So with this greetings, I shall start these proceedings of today's webinar on Swami Vivekananda and Young Achievers. I shall chant a few mantras, Vedic mantras, then play a bhajan for all of you on the message of Swami Vivekananda, explain the meaning to it. Then we have the recitation by the volunteer students of the Institute of Human Excellence, followed by that very exciting, mind-blowing, dynamic, and inspiring presentations by 12 selected, creamed, chosen youth from 5 different zones of our great motherland. Once again, namaste to everybody, and greetings to Sharat Vivek Sagar and his team from Dexterity Global Patna. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatar varishtaya ramakrishnaya te namaha यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्या स्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम् नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tejosi Tejo Mai Dehi Viryamasi Viryam Mai Dehi Balamasi Balam Mai Dehi Ojosi Ojo Mai Dehi Manyurasi Manyum Mai Dehi Sahosi saho mai dehi Sarve bhavantu sukhinah Sarve santu niramayah Sarve bhadrani pashyantu Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet Durjana sajjano bhuyat Sajjana shanti mapnuyat Shanto muccheta bandebhyo Muktaschanyan vimochayet Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. May all be happy, may all be peaceful, may all be free from danger, may all be free from difficulties and diseases and sorrow. May all see what is good, may all listen what is good. May all do what is useful to themselves and others. May all be happy everywhere. May all be peaceful everywhere. May all be enlightened everywhere. So, this is a wonderful prayer from the Vedas, from the Upanishads. Tejosi tejo mayi dehi, Viryamasi viryam mayi dehi, Balamasi balam mayi dehi, ojosi ojo mayi dehi, Manyurasi manyum mayi dehi, Sahosi saho mayi dehi. This is a call from the great sages of India. There is a prayer to that Supreme Being in any name or form you like. What does a youth of India, what does a youth in life require? These 6 primary qualities, dynamic qualities, which can keep the ball rolling, which can keep the water flowing, which can keep their life charged up. First is Tejas. Now we have the Makara Sankranti festival going on all over the country, in various states, various names, various ways of celebrating. And it is offered to the Sun God, who is the food, who is the life, who is the energy of this world. So, Tejas is what his name is. Ojas, energy. Balam, absolute strength. Not just bull power, but that refined strength. Then we have Manas, the mental strength. We have Sahanam, forbearance.
Ji Guruji.
And there are so many other beautiful qualities which we should have, we should acquire. In all these put together, Swami Vivekananda has given a two-pronged attack. It's called double-edged sword. One is called Kshatraviryam, and he said Brahma Tejas. What the youth require today, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Saurashtra to the northeast, is Kshatraviryam and Brahma Tejas. External dexterity, external strength of a soldier to face the bullet, to face the cannon without a murmur, that Dhishakti, and the spiritual strength inside. So this particular webinar today, which we are organizing as part of the celebration, because people say 12th January is Vivekananda's birthday. Afterwards, what? Put Vivekananda in the shelf or just quote some things, etc., etc. So this is where we have to work on. We have to take care of these very important things in life. We have to continue to celebrate. We have to continue to grow. We have to continue to evolve. That is Swami Vivekananda's vision. That is why he said, stop not till the goal is reached. So let us work on this. Let us work on the parameters of success, of growth, and make things better for our life. So now I request all of you to pay attention to this very important song. Leela Mahesh, the host, I request to be very alert and mute everybody except the co-host. Otherwise, it causes disturbance and distraction also, please. Nobody should be able to open minus the co-hosts. That is your responsibility.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, this is a Telugu song, but which has got in between certain photographs and message in English. Later, after the song is over, I'll just summarize it for the benefit of my friends from Dexterity Global. They invited the young speakers and also the other audience.
Shri Ram Janaki बैठे हैं मेरे सीने में Shri Ram.
Yeah, very good, man. Fantastic. Leela Mahesh.
Maharaj, setting someone else is changing it, Maharaj.
No, nobody will change. You are the host and you ask Om Prakash how to do it.
Done, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, please be very sensitive about this. Yes. Hope you are able to see the screen. Hello?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes.
Yeah, now let us concentrate on this very important song.
The history of the world is a history of few men who had faith in themselves. That faith calls out the divinity within. All the great prophets, saints, and seers of the world, what did they do? In one span of life, they lived the whole life of humanity. I believe that India will awake again. If anyone could, with all his heart, could love the people of his country, bereft of the grace of affluence, downtrodden, ever starved, quarrelsome and envious, India needs the sacrifice of at least 1,000 of our men, minds, and not troops.
సుధాకర్ బిల్ ఇక్కడ ఉండడం ఒక నిమిషం ఏదేదో వస్తుంటుంది ఎలాగ మాట్లాడి మళ్ళీ చెప్పడం అదే మాటిమాటికి ఇప్పుడు సడన్గా వస్తుంది. అలాంటి వాళ్ళు అందరినీ తీసేయమను, రిమూవ్ అని చెప్పు. తెలీదు. ఎవరెవరు ఎక్కుతున్నారు రిమూవ్.
The history of the world is a history of
ఎందుకు మధ్యలో వాట్ హోస్ట్ ఇట్?
Maharaj,
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of people are messaging that even those who have been on mute, many of them have been removed in one go. So if those who are on mute, if Leela can please not remove them, those who are unmuted, them he should remove. He's probably removed quite a few.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. Sir, maybe technical issue from my side. I did not remove anyone, sir. Okay.
Number suddenly has reduced, or some removed, something has happened, you just check. I request those who are attending this program, the youth from different places, please be focused and don't touch anything, don't do anything else.
Maharaj,
Yes,
many
yes.
messages in one go about getting removed.
Yeah, no, there's some technical, suddenly there is a big technical issue there. So I was getting some other message. Today
Yes.
something has happened, somebody creeping.
Yeah. Some have joined on the YouTube link, by the way. Some are watching on YouTube now.
Yeah, I think that's better. And please join the YouTube link in case you find you're not able to enter here. That is okay, that they can see and enjoy and be inspired. Others, please maintain the focus and don't disturb yourself, don't disturb others also. Thank you. So anyway, the small message in between, there was this pause, there was something hosted. We are working on this. I will just read out one or two lines to save the time. Vivekanandani Simha Garjanam, that is the lion's roar of Swami Vivekananda's message, should be heard nook and corner by the youth of India. That is the first line. Vivekanandani Simha Garjanam Bharata Yuvata Vinuma. Bharata Yuvata is the youth of India who have to listen to these words of this fiery monk, and he's not just words, not just English rhetoric, but they are powerful message. Vajrapatamidi Agni Mantramidi Divya Tejamidi Kanuma. They are having the power of the thunderbolt and full of tejas. Divya Tejamidi Kanuma. Inupa Kandaralu Ukku Naramulu Vajra Sankalpamu Valanoi. Muscles of iron and nerves of steel. That is put into Telugu. Balame Jeevanamu Dainyame Mrutyivu. Strength is life, weakness is death. Piriki Rodanika Valanoi. There is no time for crying, there is no time for weeping now, because we have to be strong and we have to be focused. Shakti Sarvaswamu Nilo Nikshiptamu. All power is within you. Sakalam Neeku Sambhavamu. You can do anything and everything, but positive, not destructive. Adipara Shakti Amrita Putra. This was the message of Swami Vivekananda. Shrunvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha. He is giving you an identity of Amritatvam, of strength, and you being the son of the divine. Atma Shraddhato Padamundukuika. March on with self-confidence. March on with faith. Swamiji Divinamu Vinima. Sankellanu Chedinchu, Bandhalanu Kandinchu. Break the chains, cut the chains. And then understand Swami Vivekananda's message for you. This is a wonderful approach. Understand Swami Vivekananda's message. I request everybody to be focused. And we move now quickly to Parvita and her team for listening to the fiery words of Swami Vivekananda. Youngsters of our own Institute of Human Excellence will recite Swami Vivekananda's teachings for a couple of minutes. Over to Parvita.
Our pranams to the Holy Trio. Namaste Swamiji. Namaste to the highly distinguished speakers present in the webinar. Swami Vivekananda dedicated his life to teaching and guiding the youth.
Gorilla.
Attributes.
Gorilla.
But what, according to the Swami Vivekananda, was a true leadership? Swamiji said, always first learn to be a servant, and then you will be first learn to be a servant, and then you will be fit.
Leela Mahesh, please check.
Hello?
Continue, Abhishek.
Always first learn to be a servant, and then you will be fit to be a master. Avoid this jealousy, and you will do great works that have yet to be done.
Never become a leader in whose love there is a consideration of high or low. He who loves knows no end and never stops to consider high or low, the whole world lying at his feet.
It is a very difficult task to take on the role of a leader. One must trust all one's own self under the feet of the community. One must be a servant of servant. There must be no shade of jealousy or selfishness. Then you are a leader.
The difficulty is not in making plans. The real test of the leader lies in holding widely different people together along the line of their common sympathies. A leader must accommodate 1,000 minds, and this can only be done unconsciously, never by trying.
There is no allegiance possible whether there is no character in the leader, and perfect purity ensures the most lasting allegiance and confidence.
Swami Vivekananda has been called a monk, a social reformer, an orator par excellence, but very little analysis has been done on him as a leader.
What were the characteristics Swamiji had and wanted in a true leader? Dedication to work. Whenever you are doing a work, do not think of anything beyond. Do it as worship, as the highest worship, and devote your whole life into it for the time being.
Face the problems. If you ever feel afraid of anything, always turn around and face it. Never think of running away.
Focus on the goal. Whatever you're doing, put your whole mind on it. If you're shooting, your mind should only be on the target. Then you will never miss. If you're learning your lesson, think only of the lessons.
Motivation. You must not say that you're weak. How do you know what possibilities lie behind that degradation on the surface? You know but little of that which is within you, for behind you is the ocean of infinite power and blessedness.
Strong intentions and resolutions. There is no impossible word in the dictionary of those who lead. No matter how big the challenges, they can be resolved with strong intention and resolutions.
Disciplined leader is the one who knows how to obey commands before knowing how to command. Learn obedience first.
Believe in yourself and the world will be at your feet.
The most unique contribution of Swami Vivekananda towards the creation of a new Bharata was opening the minds of Indians to their duty to the downtrodden.
He said, everything else will be ready, but strong, vigorous, believing young men, sincere to the backbone, are wanted. 100 such, and the world will be revolutionized.
The responsibility now lies with the youth to walk the path shown by Swami Vivekananda and realize his dream of making Bharat the Vishwaguru once again. Thank you, Jai Vivekananda.
Yes. Thank you very much for your usual presentation. You can, yeah. So that was Parvita and her young team who have been learning so many things from us from their childhood and absorbing the spirit of Swamiji and sharing it with as many people as possible in every webinar and in every wonderful programs being conducted in the Institute of Human Excellence. We wish them greetings, we wish them strength and peace and joy so that they can spread this message of universality, of peace, of strength, especially at the mental level, where so many things are being disturbed and distorted. So this message of Swami Vivekananda will go over the length and breadth of this country. So we come to the main program of today's webinar, that is Vivekananda and Young Achievers. Sharat Sagar, who is leading the team today, our own, should I say, guest faculty, our devotee and part of the family of Human Excellence and of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, does not need introduction to those who are listening to him today. And to save time, I will just say that this particular message or idea is very, very important. Swami Vivekananda's this one, inspiration to the youth, because 600 million of our country is full of youth, full of this youthfulness, should I say. And everywhere in India now at present, they are called upon to shoulder greater responsibilities in development of new industries, new educational medical institutions, new lines of research, new modes of communication, new forms of infrastructure, public welfare, and human progress. And sky is the limit for the... Pavanji, what are you doing there? You want... those who are not interested, want to disturb, please vacate this place. Otherwise, we'll have to stop this meeting and conduct it in a different platform. Be very serious about it, those who are online. I don't know what has happened today. Somebody has hacked or something. It is creating a lot of problems. Please stop signaling. Please stop using your system. You're dealing with Ramakrishna Math Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. How did you get this link and who has asked you to join this program?
Maharaj, most are now watching on YouTube. In this case, what we can do is, except for the speakers, everyone else can be removed.
Yes. I think all
everyone
the other...
can watch on YouTube.
Yeah. Leela Mahe, did you get your message?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, please do it. And make announcement. All of you can go on to the YouTube and watch the program there, the process there.
Everyone who's in the participants, please go to the link in the chat box. You can watch it live on YouTube.
It's not a very big technical, just type Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence YouTube channel, it is there. We have connected it there and it's going on. I can see the proceedings being worked out. Later we will call interaction time or some end of the program, we will call you. Those who are interested, audio talk for observations, that is left to the host and to my personal choice. Okay. So having said that, Swami Vivekananda's message, which is so relevant today in the 21st century, three things are very much required. which Dexterity Global and the Human Excellence Institute in Hyderabad is focusing on, taking it as a process, taking it as a discipline, as a sadhana. One is distribution of knowledge, pure knowledge, positive knowledge, and purposeful knowledge. The second is training, shikshana. It's not just giving something, it is training also. The third is change of outlook towards oneself and towards the society. After certain period, certain age, what happens? There will be a cataract formation in the eyes. When the cataract is formed, there is tears, there is haziness, the trees and everything that we look at becomes very hazy, right? But has it changed? No, it is just a covering, just the film on the eyes. So the outlook has to be changed. We go to the doctor, we take care, and we get operated. Today with technology, etc., in 2-3 hours, it can be worked on. We can become better. We can go back to work. The outlook changes. The whole world becomes more brighter, more beautiful. Similarly with my ajnana, my ignorance, my foolishness, my idiosyncrasy, my violence inside, that is covering my mind. Through sadhana, through discipline, through focus, let us make things different for us. Let us work on Swamiji's message. Let us utilize Swamiji for the welfare of our own personal life and for the welfare of this nation. So today we are going into that particular dynamics. We are going into that particular dynamics of understanding how these young people who have been invited Swamiji's message. I request session for the moment, and we'll continue with the proceeding. Yeah, Sharadji.
Hey, Leela, stop muting everybody.
Sir, really sorry, sir. It's not me, sir. Like, yeah.
It says the host muted everyone.
Yeah.
Swamiji was also getting muted each time. Maharaj, I'll take 20 seconds. I'll just look at the participant list.
Yeah.
Okay, it should hopefully be fine now. Perfect. Thank you so much, Maharaj. My pranams to you, first of all. And to everyone watching, I see over 100 people are watching on YouTube right now. I was also watching the same program there. As Maharaj outlined, this is a part of the National Youth Day celebrations that the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence is doing. At VIHE, National Youth Day is not celebrated one day, it is celebrated every day. It is celebrated in forms of classes that continue to happen continuously. When Corona came in, those classes became digital, and people nationally have been able to participate in those classes and get trained. More than 18 lakh people, that includes judges, teachers, bureaucrats, young professionals, technology people, they have all undergone training at VIHE. I have had the great honor of being associated with the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence for a long time. Now, when it comes to National Youth Day, right now, this entire week almost, and throughout the year, these programs continue to happen. But for National Youth Day, just day before yesterday, we had scientists from IISc here. We'll have sports people. We'll have a lot of people coming in, and they'll be talking about how Swamiji's ideas have influenced their lives and what you can take from their personal journeys, some little and big successes that as we see them. I think it is a distinct honor for the young people who are a part of this webinar, this digital interaction. It is a distinct honor, not just for those who will be speaking, but also for the attendees, because these are probably some of the youngest people who will be speaking from a VIHE platform. Each one of them brings something very distinct, very meaningful, very unique, not just to this program, but to our country as a young Indian. Their education and training within the dexterity system has been to answer Swamiji's call. Swamiji continuously said that his faith lied in the modern generation, the young generation. Out of them would come the workers who will work out these problems like lions. So some of the people who have joined today, out of these 12, there are fellows who are working on some of the extremely important issues in our country. Some of them have received huge scholarships. Just this past month, there were many media stories that were viral. These are people here. Some of them serve on top United Nations bodies as youth ambassadors for India, only one position that is there at this point. So they have all done incredible things. I will try not to speak today so that we can hear each one of them. What my role is going to be is I'm going to quickly give you an introduction of the young boy or girl who's going to speak, young lady or gentleman, and then they will speak. Towards the end, if there is time, of course, we'll take your questions. As Swamiji said, we can see how the interaction goes there. Now, there are three things I want to say at the beginning. Who are these young people? They are young Indians who have been trained in the dexterity system. What does dexterity do? Dexterity tries to bridge the gap between education and leadership. That basically means that in your schools and in your colleges across this country, what you are learning, it should lift someone up. It should lift this country up through scientific leadership, through leadership in engineering, through leadership in arts, through leadership in public services, whatever it is. Three, so why are these young people here? Because they are almost in teenage, all of them. And starting from probably the youngest who is here today, Aditya Singh, who studies in Gwalior at this point in time. He's a member of the National Society of High School Scholars, a society run by the Nobel Prize family. He was 13 when he got nominated for that. The oldest probably in this group right now is Swaraj Priyadarshi, who happens to be the Chief of Staff of Dexterity Global. He came into the system at the age of 9 or 10. Stayed connected with educational opportunities from that age, underwent several training platforms of dexterity, most distinctly Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship and Dexterity to College Fellowship, studied on a full scholarship in the United States. And today, under his leadership, more than 51 crores in scholarships have been received by all these young people. So these are all young people who are passionate about this country, who are passionate about contributing in public service and nation building. And they do it by an education rooted in purpose. And their education, as they speak, you will see, continues to postulate everything that Swamiji put forward, ranging from observation, concentration, memory, a clean and sharp mind, to a strong and pure character and the willingness to answer Swamiji's call to love India and lift India up through their education. So I won't take much time. I'll quickly introduce each person I'll introduce and then they'll speak. I want to actually introduce Swaraj Priyadarshi first. Swaraj is the senior most. He's also in the leadership at Dexterity. To quickly introduce him, while Swaraj was in high school, he worked on several innovative projects like making books accessible to people around him. He worked on some environmental projects at that point with Volvo and UNEP. And he was selected on a full scholarship to study at Tufts University in the United States. At Tufts, he received the Samuel Huntington Public Service Award, which was given only to 3 people from all across the United States. Students from all nationalities who were studying there. He was one of the 3 to receive the Samuel Huntington Public Service Award. At Dexterity, he's known as the silent leader, the silent mentor who does the most of heavy lifting and continues to silently do his work. He has tremendous impact on the other 11 who have joined. So I would like to start with Swaraj, and Swaraj can go ahead. Swaraj is from Bihar, and he currently is headquartered right here in Patna, from where Dexterity operates. Thank you very much. Over to you, Swaraj.
Thank you so much, Sharad sir. My pranams to Swami Bodhnayanandji Maharaj, who's present here. Hello to all our Dexterity alumni who are here, and everyone else who has joined through YouTube and Zoom. Thank you so much, sir, for such a kind introduction. I don't know if I do justice to all of that, but I have been very grateful, and I have had the great honor to play a small part in the making of all Dexterity alumni who are here, and many who have joined from different parts of the world and from India. I want to give a quick background into my story before I start talking. I was born in a small village in Bihar, in Darbhanga, precisely. I actually did not go to school for the first few years of my life. It was in the middle of third grade when I first enrolled to school. And it was largely because of no good schools around and parents not having that kind of money to send to a good school. And I was in the middle of third grade in 2005. That is when I enrolled at a school. I was very grateful to be surrounded by very, very, very influential people right from a very young age. And that I feel has truly changed my life, being surrounded by people who I could learn from every day and who supported me, mentored me, and guided me throughout. And most important of which is, of course, Sharad sir. He was the star of our school, and not just of our school, but of our city as well. Every day there would not be a week where Sharad sir would not be in the newspapers in Patna, in Bihar, and for things that he had done. And he was probably the ideal high school student that anyone could have ever been. So that is, and I was grateful to be in touch with him as a student of my school. It was when I was like 10 years old or something. That is when I first engaged with a dexterity platform. It was called Dex Challenge, where students from all across the city, students from different other schools from all across the city and the state, they would come together and they would compete in these, fun competitions. They would, from art and music to leadership and quiz and debating and all of that. They would come together and they would, learn in the process, compete and win. And that was a lot of encouragement, because back in the day, rarely kids from especially small towns would get platforms where they could showcase their talent and also learn in the process and meet other young bright people who are doing good things. So that was my first point of communication with dexterity as an organization. I was very fortunate to have won at Dex Challenge, and that is when I got in touch with Sharad sir. And sir was like, you know what, you seem smart and nice and driven. You should come and work with us. And that is when I started working with the organization and with Sharad sir. And I started with small projects and just small little things that I had to do, and kept engaging deeply and kept learning from Sharad sir under his direct guidance, and kept engaging with dexterity platforms simultaneously. Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, Dexterity College Fellowship, which I used to go to Tufts University on a full scholarship and then come back. But in all of it, there is one thing that I learned. I mean, it was that whatever we are doing, as young students, as young children, everything that we do, and especially in our houses, in our schools, we are taught to, do something for ourselves. We are taught to, be something. And mostly it is surrounded, it is very there's a very self-centric approach that the world today often has, and we are taught that way, except for a few places as VIHE, Ramakrishna Matan Mission, and Dexterity Global, of course, where young people from a young age are given an outlook that, okay, what you're doing has to be connected to the society. What you're doing has to be related in some way or the other. It has to solve a problem. It has to solve some problem for some people. So from a very young age, this was an education that I got at Dexterity, and that was about forgetting the self and thinking more about the world. But that does not mean that you do not build the self. That is where Swamiji's entire concept about be and make comes into place. That first we become, and that is when we enable others to become. So that was my education. I was very lucky from a very young age that this is how I saw myself. That is all that I know. I mean, there is nothing else that I have, there's nothing else that, it has become part of my muscle. There's nothing else that I have known that I will do something for myself. I'll do something for myself, become something or whatever. If I do, it has to be about the world. In some way or the other, it has to be related to how can it solve a problem for someone else. And that is the entire message of Swamiji. And then I was fortunate to go to Tufts University in the US and study on a full scholarship and come back the next day. And to be honest, a lot of times people do ask me that, okay, you did not choose to stay there, work for a few years, make some money or whatever. And it must have been such a difficult decision of your life. And I will be very honest, it was not. It was the easiest decision of my life, because there's nothing else that I ever imagined myself doing. There's nothing else. It never occurred to my mind that I can get an education of that kind and stay and make some money or, spend a few years in the US and come back. The only thing, it was clear in my mind the moment I took that flight from India in 2015, and I knew that 2019 May is when I graduate. It was very clear in my mind that I am going to get this education and I'm going to come back and serve through the education that I have got. And that is why it was a very easy decision for me. There was no other option that I had, and there was nothing else that I had in my mind. It was very clear. I was very clear in my mind. And that is something happened in the last 2 years. I have been working with Dexterity full time, of course. I continue to work across 2 different time zones when I was in the US, and even before that when I was in high school. And in the last 2 years, I've been working full time. These are amazing young people that I have had the great honor of working with, shaping in some ways. And I feel that it is my great fortune to have this sort of to be placed where I am placed in my life, where I get to learn so much every day from people like Sharad sir, and through my engagements with different Swamijis of the Ramakrishna Math Mission, Swami Bodhananji Maharaj and other Swamijis across different centers. And the little that I know and the little that I have been able to gain, I can pass it on and, like help others largely be and make the Swamiji's message. So that is what I do. And I feel that is what is needed in this country. We need more young people like our Dexterity alumni here who become and then enable others to become. And that I feel has to be the message of this generation. That is what Dexterity is trying to do. That is what VIHE is trying to do, enabling more young people to be the best version of themselves and who can enable others to become the best version. So that is what we do. That is who I am. Thank you so much. I will not take much time. I feel today is the moment of these 12 young people who are doing amazing things and who will share wonderful stories from their life. It is truly an honor and a blessing for me to be joining in. Thank you so much, Sharad sir, Swamiji. My pranams to everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Swaraj. So Swaraj, of course, is a part of the leadership team. Everyone else, there was a very interesting thing that we did when Swamiji invited 12 of us to join in and speak with each one of you. Dexterity alumni are split into 5 zones: North, East, West, South, and Northeast. And each zone has a zonal leadership. Each Dex school class year, where we bring 60 students from all across India, they have a class president. What we've done is almost every class from 2012, 2013 onwards, that Swaraj sir was a part of, till 2020 has been represented. And what we've also done is that the alumni council presidents from each one of the 5 zones are here in attendance. The interesting thing is each one of them are doing something very interesting in their fields. I would like to go across, start from Northeast, of course, so that it is a very good perspective, because many times when we talk about India, many times we ignore our Northeast. Somebody who is not just from the Northeast, but also very passionate about Northeast. Akanksha Mazumdar is from Assam, and she is probably right now in Tripura, but Tripura and Assam is where she traces her roots back to. She is the president for the Northeast Alumni Council for Dexterity. And right now, the very prestigious thing that Akanksha does is that many of us do not have, we do not care about clothes because we have too many of those. And at the same time, there are so many people who do not have enough clothes to wear. 2 years, 3 years back, the Magsaysay Prize, which is Asia's Nobel Prize, was given to Sri Anshu Gupta, who's the founder of Goonj, a very interesting organization that is trying to make sure that every Indian lives a life of dignity. Goonj every year selects few young people as Goonj Fellows who spend dedicated couple of years working in direct public service. Akanksha Mazumdar this year was selected as the Goonj Fellow and is one of the young Indians working on this project that is run by the Magsaysay Prize winner, Asia's Nobel Prize, Sri Anshu Gupta. So we'll hear from Akanksha, Swamiji's impact on her life, the work that she does, and her personal experiences. Over to you, Akanksha.
On behalf of VIHE, my greetings to Akanksha and wish you all the best in your life and in your career and in your contribution to the nation.
Thank you so much, Maharajji. Thank you.
Please carry on.
Thank you so much, sir, for such kind words. Namaskar and good evening to all. Like sir said, I am an urban fellow for the Goonj Maharashtra team and have completed my education in liberal arts with a sociology major degree from Manipal University. It was during my college years when I first was introduced to Swamiji's ideas as a Deck School graduate. And since then, his ideas and our work have had a powerful impact on me. I think it was the Deck School idea where we are taught to be future leaders through our service and take the path of Nishkam Karma has a significant impact, made a significant difference in my life. I believe it is important for us to understand the power service holds in bringing a change. It does not necessarily have to be at a very large scale. It could begin at a very minimalist micro level by just being present in your society and waiting to strike when required. Capturing such great diversity, India gives us an opportunity to observe such varied communities coming from different stratas and build a chance to create a larger community from its grassroots. For me, I think Nishkam Karm is when I'm able to utilize my education in rationalizing the core problems of people and their needs. A tapasya where I'm waiting, observing, and being present in my society to serve when required with utmost dedication. Growing up in the Northeast and having the fortune to travel to few parts of the country, I have seen the hardships of people and their needs. And it only reaffirms the idea of Swamiji, his idea of working with utmost dedication. For him, service meant worship, work or any action done with utmost purity and conviction. And this is what my dexterity journey has taught me. When I became a Dexterity to College Fellow in 2019, I was able to understand the necessity of internalizing our journey, our vision to spread it across. It is only when you truly believe and live the moment can you spread it to others. So perhaps my goal would be, our goal collectively should be to manifest within us the ideas and habits of Nishkam Karm and make it our philosophy. To understand what truly leadership means, service means, and then only correlate it to our work and worship. I feel so blessed to be a part of an organization where we are corrected every day and told to fight the battles of high standards. Well, my vision for the coming youth would be to witness a society which is less selfish and more selfless towards attaining an affirmative difference for others. Because we, being the future of tomorrow, require to empathize with communities and bring a change in our service. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, Akanksha. I am actually sitting here and very energized and inspired hearing all these words from you, each one of you. And people who are watching on YouTube, the number is increasing, which is also great. So moving across, the second person who I would like to invite right after this, I think we can, of course, start with the youngest when it comes to the boys' side. We'll start with the 13-year-old Aditya Singh, who studies in Gwalior at this point in time. Aditya did something very interesting. He's been passionate about education, leadership, most importantly, sciences that can lift humanity. What Aditya received recently was indeed an honor for any young person anywhere in the world, be it India or country. The National Society of High School Scholars was founded to recognize high school scholars from all across the world. It was founded by the Nobel Prize family, and this summer, 13-year-old Aditya Singh was nominated as a member to the National Society of High School Scholars. He's 13, still very formative years, but let's hear from him how Swamiji influences his life and how does he see himself in the coming years. Over to you, Aditya.
So to Aditya, my greetings and best wishes. Hope to see you growing and growing into a huge banyan tree and be of great solace and strength to the motherland. Over to Aditya.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Sharad sir. So my namaskar to Swami Bodhmayananji Maharaj, Sharad sir, and to everyone. I feel extremely happy and proud to be speaking here. My name is Aditya Singh, and I study in a school called the Sindhya School, which is located in Gwalior. And I'm a very proud part of the organization Dexterity Global. I joined Dexterity as a D2C fellow. I'm a Dex School Class of 2018 graduate, and I'm also a part of Dex School Class of 2020. As a kid, I was introduced to the higher values and ideals of this nation when I joined Dexterity. Dexterity runs on Swami Vivekanandaji's thoughts, and I have seen my evolution as a better, simple, and grounded person through it. My education at Dexterity has groomed me into many things, and an achiever is one of them. I understand the importance of rigor, whether it is applied to achieve academic excellence or to overcome an obstacle, and that is what leads us to achieve our dreams. Similarly, I made an achievement. I got selected into NSHSS. It stands for National Society of High School Scholars. It's a US-based honor society run by the descendants of Sir Alfred Nobel. The values I learned took me there, and my reaction to it was also influenced by my education at Dexterity. At Dexterity, we are taught to be the same person on the best and on the worst day of our lives. And I was the same person on that day too. Getting into NSHSS is a great opportunity for me. But my development by Swamiji's thoughts has led me to other achievements too. Be it achieving the highest academic accolade in my school, or be it leading my house debating team and winning the trophy together. All of this is an impact of Swamiji's thoughts and Dexterity education on me. I was 11 when I first came into the Dexterity system, when I was first introduced to leadership, to the values, to committing to my nation. I came in with just one dream of getting my dream education at my dream college. But since then, I have been thinking of a lot more. I have started working on preparing for a lot more. And it is now when I realize that it always has been about a lot more. Every day, I try to become a person of great character, of a scientific temperament, and work on gaining my expertise. Over the years in my journey as a Dexter, I have not just learned about entrepreneurship or about the admission procedure in top colleges. I have also learned about being spiritually grounded, about selfless service to my nation, and about Nishkam Karma. Every talk I have with Sharat sir turns out to be meaningful. In Dexterity, we are not just taught about nation building, we are made into nation builders. We are not just taught about servant leadership, we are turned into servant leaders. We are not just told to become a Karma Yogi, each one of us becomes a Karma Yogi. This nation needs young people on the right path, young people who value purpose over position, who have a non-materialistic approach towards things. Young people devoted to this nation, committed to servant leadership, to humankind. And that is what Swamiji believed in. There are problems out there, people in pain, and we should take it as our responsibility to solve them. We need to empathize with the people. It's with simplicity that we can understand these problems better, and it's with the right education that we can solve these problems. We have to be enthusiastic to learn and to lead. We have had visionaries who led us here, and we need more for taking us forward. I am a part of someone's vision. Sharat sir's vision of creating a generation of leaders who can bridge the gap between education and leadership. And I have a simple vision too. It is to serve my country with my education and to take it forward in the field of technology with my expertise. To be fearless while doing the right thing. The feeling I have while I learn these things is something special, a different sense of service and belonging to my nation, to my people. A feeling that makes me want to become better every day. I want others to have that same feeling. I want others to feel the same way. A feeling of being blessed, a feeling that makes you want to learn more. Speaking this in front of people who want to grow together as a nation has been an absolute pleasure for me. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Maharaj.
I am amazed just hearing these guys go on for such a long time and with such depth and internalization of Swamiji's ideas. I don't think I say it often to all of you, but I am very proud of everything that you had to say. Like, I've seen you live it, but being able to articulate it is quite a thing. This is brilliant. Thank you so much, Aditya. Next up, we invited Akanksha from the far east of India. So we go to the far west of India, to the city of Surat, and we hear from 17-year-old Khushi Chendalia. Khushi has done quite a few things in the last 1 year alone. She was she received the honorable mention for the New York Times summer reading contest. Over the summer, New York Times invites entries from young students all across the world, and around 12 to 15 of them are honored with winner, runner-up, and honorable mention prize. Khushi was one of the honorable mentions for New York Times writing contest this summer. She was she had a 99 percentile in math in American College Test, ACT, which is a necessary exam to write in order to attend a top 500 college. She had a 99 percentile there. Then UNESCO organized an entire competition in India. It was a national essay contest envisioning year one AC, year one after coronavirus. And young people had to write about what they had seen in Corona and how they saw the world after that. Khushi was the national winner of the UNESCO essay contest, honorable mention, New York Times story contest. She is also a member of the National Society of High School Scholars and now their global ambassador. But the most interesting thing was that Khushi, 3-4 months back, was viral all across the country. Her achievement being that the United Nations Environment Program and Samsung jointly run a platform called Tunza Eco Generation. Tunza is a Swahili word that means children and youth. The only United Nations office outside of the developed world is in Africa, the United Nations Environment Program. And there, the Children and Youth Board comprises of young people from all across the world. The only representative on that board from India right now is 17-year-old Khushi Chindalia from Surat in Gujarat. On behalf of all our viewers who have joined it, I welcome Khushi, and I think she has a lot of achievements, but hopefully something more important to talk about.
Very amazing, very powerful. My greetings and best wishes to Khushi, and nice meeting you, and hope to see you more often in our circles, in our webinar, and join all of you. In fact, should have your whole participation in VIHE activities in future. We shall make
This is just the beginning, Maharaj. They will all stay involved.
Yeah, this is just the taste of the pudding. Khushi, over to you. All the best.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Sharad sir and Swamiji. Good evening, everyone. I'm Khushi Chandalia. I'm 17 years old and I come from a humble family in Surat, Gujarat. I'm a tech school graduate from 2019 and I currently serve as the West Zone President at Dexterity Alumni Council. I've organized first TEDx Youth event in my city where we discussed innovative ideas like what you wear to face climate change. And last summer, I received the honor of the last lifetime as I was appointed as the regional ambassador for India by Tunza Eco Generation, which is a platform created by UNEP and Samsung Engineering. And as I begin, I would like to thank Swami Bodhmai Anandji Maharaj and Sharad sir for giving me this opportunity. No words can describe the deep honor and the gratitude that I feel right now as I speak in front of you. I was first introduced to Swamiji's ideas while I was preparing for a declamation competition in 3rd grade. I was going to deliver a speech given by him called Strength and Destiny. Due to some mismanagement on my school's end, I was not given enough time to complete this speech. I could not deliver the last paragraph of the speech, but it was this last paragraph that left a deep imprint on my mind. It goes as, "It is the coward and the fool who says this is fate. Say, I will make my fate. So my friends, arise, awake, and sleep no more. Within each of you lies the power to remove all your wants and all your misery. Believe this, and the power will be manifested." After so many years, I finally received the opportunity to speak these lines, and I could never have imagined that I would get this chance at Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. At the age of 16, I was reintroduced to Swamiji's ideas at Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship. It is a space where we are not only taught to be great leaders and great entrepreneurs, but also individuals with a great value system. As I entered Dex School, I vividly remember that I was instantly inspired by the stories of young people, young leaders around me who came from all across our country. But I was also hesitant to answer, hesitant to step forward. And the first advice that I got at Dex School was to put my foot on the accelerator. And as I start pushing myself, I slowly realized the quintessential role that it plays in breaking boundaries between knowing to doing and doing to knowing. I realized that I had a power to create an impact through my education. We all had the power to create an impact. I finally began developing the deeper understanding of that last paragraph that I had prepared for a declamation competition in third standard. Over the past 2 years, I consciously pushed myself to take a stand for what I deeply believe in. I pushed myself to participate in all DexConnect opportunities. I pushed myself to actively write about the inequalities that exist in our society, and in the process, gain some recognition from UNESCO, UNEP, and New York Times. I pushed myself to work on creating a greener planet. I researched on various economic and political means to face climate change. I engaged with young climate leaders at international conventions and with government of Gujarat to discuss scientific and economic ways to face the challenge. Hence, I implore you to push yourself to think creatively, to research deeply, to lead, to speak truth to power, to face new challenges. Push yourself to take a stand, whether you envision to create a green or just world or want equal wage at your workspace. I'm confident that if we think in the right direction by asking the right questions and work with the highest merit and deepest convictions, we can all bring a change. We can all create an impact regardless of our age, our gender, our caste, or our creed. I'm confident that if we move forward in our life with a higher purpose, we can all climb up a ladder and see the change that we once envisioned in our society, in our country, and in our world actually happen. So, my friends, arise, awake, and sleep no more. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, Khushi. That was brilliant. I am continuing to get amazed by everything that everyone has to say. I didn't know the standard 3 story. Thanks to this, the story has come out. And I'm glad you got to finish that paragraph. The work will go on lifelong, irrespective. So that was Khushi Chindalia. Khushi leads the West Zone on the Alumni Council. We go across to North Zone. We have a young gentleman who comes from Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh, a law student whose contribution to the country that we live in is very interesting. Abhinav has continued. Abhinav Singh is the president of the North Zone on the Dexterity Alumni Council. He has been working on some very important projects where they go into slums of Delhi and they educate the young children with all the legal education or legal power they need, they must have. That organization work that he's already doing. The interesting contribution that Abhinav has made is something very simple. That is that throughout India's history, the judiciary in India has been using standard legal paper, which is of a different size than the A4 paper that all of us use at our homes or in our offices. So Abhinav, with his friend, moved the Chief Justice of India and said that if all the work happens on A4 size paper, I think it is environmentally conscious and it is more greater common sense to use A4 sheet even in the legal process. And after hundreds of years of our rich judiciary in India, the Chief Justice of India actually intervened and accepted that A4 sheet paper should be used even for all legal proceedings before and after. So these are very small, interesting things that can have a large scale change. And that is what many of our Dexterity alumni continue to do. I have the great honor of introducing a young boy from Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh, a place that Swamiji actually visited. And Abhinav, right now, when he had gone to Ghazipur, he went specially to see Pahari Baba's ashram there where Swamiji had come. And so he has great faith in Swamiji's ideas. He's been greatly inspired by Swamiji. And without much further ado, I'll introduce Abhinav Singh right away, a law student who's done some interesting things in law, continuing to give legal education in slums of India, and hopefully will continue to do Swamiji's work in the future. Over to you, Abhinav.
Yeah, Abhinav, welcome on board. And nice knowing about you. And Ghazipur is the place of Pahari Baba, and nearby is Saranath, and you are nearer to the city of Shiva. And may you be blessed and strengthened to take up this message and make our motherland proud and Swamiji's dream of a resurgent India a reality. Welcome on board, Abhinav Singh.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Thank you very much, Sharat sir, for that kind introduction. A very good evening to everyone. I'm Abhinav Singh from Ghazipur, Uttar Pradesh. I offer my pranams to Sri Swami Bodhmayananji Maharaj, Sharat sir, and everybody present here. It is a blessing of a lifetime for me to have got this chance to actually express myself on this great platform. I'm a law student and currently I'm pursuing my BB LLB honors from Amity Law School, Noida. In the last few years of my law school, I have been doing some work in the field of access to justice. And in that process, as Sharat sir told, we have been able to train and actually make aware around 100 families with the very basic legal education, which includes the very fundamental rights, our very basic legal rights, some consumer rights, and some very sensitive topics like gender sensitization. This basic awareness creates an empowerment in the minds of these underutilized and under-resourced people. In the second work that Sharat sir has already told to everybody, what we have done is that we have requested the Chief Justice of India to introduce the usage of the A4 sized paper in the Supreme Court of India, just to tell everybody that earlier the standard legal size paper was used in the Supreme Court of India. The standard legal size paper was actually an exploitative practice that was introduced by the British when the courts were formed in India. Now British went to their country, they have introduced the A4 size sheets in their country because A4 size sheets are more uniformly available and more easily accessible. But in India, the practice was still being continued. And in India also, the standard legal size paper was not easily available and not easily accessible to the common people. So we wrote to the Chief Justice of India that please allow everybody, every petitioner, and every proceedings in the courts to be in a uniform A4 size paper. To our surprise, the Chief Justice of India allowed, and in the month of January 2020, he gave an order which stated that A4 size sheets should now be used in all the proceedings of the Supreme Court. We are also trying to make it compulsory that in India, across the schools, some basic legal awareness is made compulsory in the school curriculum. As it has been already told by Sharat sir, Ghazipur and Swamiji too. Ghazipur, the place where I belong to, has a special affiliation with Swamiji. Swamiji visited this place in the year 1890, only before he left for the World Parliament of Religions. He also stayed here for actually 1 month. I went to Deck School in the year 2018. And it has been a great journey since then. I had always heard about Swamiji and the Ramakrishna mission. But it was only when I came to Deck School that I was provided with a window through which I could actually see the values and the teachings of the Swamiji that he had left for the youth of the India to follow. At Deck School, I learned what is the true meaning of spirituality and what it means to have a deep rooted character in every small things that we do. The importance of transforming our education in the service of the humanity through our different leadership roles is something that I have learned at Deck School. Often when we get to conversate with Sharat sir, he tells us about very interesting facts and incidents about the mission and the stories of very revered monks and revered monks and their speeches when he gives speeches around the country. I personally have a deep reverence to Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj, who was the 13th president of the Mutt and Mission. I follow his speeches and discourses very closely on the internet. Swamiji tells in one of his speeches, and I quote, "If you really want to control the world outside, you need to take control of an even bigger world which exists inside of you. If we are really able to do so, nothing is impossible as there lies infinite possibilities then." I must say that after coming to Deck School, I could actually find a purpose in my life through the values and vision of Swamiji. A purpose to serve selflessly and be the best version of ourselves every day. Swamiji has inspired me to see my life as a mission and to live for the service of humanity, but not without utmost patience and perseverance. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Abhinav. I think I'm the one who's sounding like a broken record here, repeating the same sentence again and again, that I am just continuing to get amazed. For those of you who are yet to learn more about Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj, those of you who have joined in, it is a very interesting coincidence, as interesting as Abhinav being from Ghazipur, where Swamiji had once spent time, that this platform too, Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, was the brainchild of Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj, one of the tallest spiritual giants that this country has seen, or the world has seen, in this recent century. So that is, it is great that right here, Abhinav was quoting Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj. Very interesting. I think we should have more of these conversations within the dexterity system also, when you guys come back and reflect on everything that you've learned. This is great because we do it within the system. This something like this, thanks to Swamiji, that this happened. I will go across and I'll introduce the president of our alumni council on the East Zone, Monita Priyadarshini. Monita is from Cuttack in Odisha, and this summer, few months back, what we have tried to do is, at Dexterity, we all love to work quietly. You look at young people like Khushi, you look at Swaraj sir, you look at any of these people, they look so quiet, so calm, they don't even talk about themselves. That is the kind of people that Dexterity has been able to build. What happens is that all these achievements that continue to happen, there is no pomp and show, no honking, no telling the world sort of a thing. This December, for the first time, Dexterity's social media became active. And we ran something called 20 Moments of Dexterity, where in the last 20 days of 2020, a year that was completely affected by Corona in many ways, we decided to put 20 inspiring stories out there. We ran out, like we didn't have enough number of days to put all stories out there. So someone like Monita, so some of these stories came into the 20 Moments of Dexterity, but Abhinav was not there in 20 Moments. Monita was not there in 20 Moments. So they've all done incredible things. Monita this year was the runner-up of an international essay competition that the United Nations ran through its environment program. And she was, sorry, the honorable mention in that, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Monita will talk more about it. She comes from Cuttack in Odisha, and an incredible young role model to look up to. One thing I want to add there when I say the word role model, Dexterity believes that if every district of India in the next 10, 15 years has a local role model that young people can look up to, that will be tremendous, because people around you, their character, their purity, their purpose, their passion, that is palpable. It moves on and it transforms many other people. And hopefully, eventually, every village of India that way. So we train our young people to be local role models. And young people like Monita are absolute role models for people around them. So we go across to the president of the East Zone Alumni Council, recent honorable mention of this international essay competition run by United Nations, Monita Priyadarshini from Cuttack in Odisha. Please go ahead, Monita.
Welcome on board. Hello, Achanti.
Bala Achanti, thank you, sir. Thank you.
May Swamiji bless you. May Lord Jagannath bless you. May great acharyas of Odisha bless you to become a global leader and take the message of the country, Vedanta, Swamiji, towards every part of this universe. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sharad sir, for your kind words. I offer my pranam to Swami Bodhmayananji Maharaj and everyone who is present here. It's truly an honor to be able to speak in this wonderful and insightful webinar, and I would like to thank the VIHE and Dexterity Global for providing me this opportunity. I am Monita Priyadarshini, and I'm an Dex School alum. I graduated from Dex School in the year 2017, and currently I'm serving as a co-president of East Zone Leadership in Dexterity Alumni Council. I was born in a very humble family in the Cuttack district of Odisha. My father is a big follower of Swami Vivekananda. As most of you must be knowing, that Swamiji had tremendous knowledge in Vedas and Upanishads. My father was deeply influenced by Sanskrit language, and later he grew up to be a Sanskrit teacher. Due to financial difficulties, I was put in state board schools till 10th standard. When I was in high school, I was really scared of this one subject, which is English. I was also not motivated enough to study because none of my friends, family, or teachers ever spoke to me in English. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. Then one day, in the year 2016, my father called me to his room and said, "Do you know what Swami Vivekananda used to say? He had said that in order to succeed, you must have tremendous will, tremendous perseverance. I will drink up the ocean, says the persevering soul. At my will, mountains will crumble up. Have that sort of energy, that sort of will, and you'll achieve everything." I came back to my room and I wrote on the paper that at my will, mountains will crumble up. I stuck that to the wall and I started walking very hard towards my goal. A year later, when I joined Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, I was again introduced to Swamiji's principles by my mentors. We were taught the importance of education and service. We were trained for the straight 7 days about how to communicate better, how to be better versions of ourselves, and how to have faith in our abilities. I came across Dex Connect, which is another wonderful initiative by Dex Global, and there I read about various competitions in which I could participate. And believe me, last year, I won honorable mention in 13 Tunza Eco-Generation World Environmental Essay Competition. Yes, the same person who was afraid of English just few years ago was able to achieve something big. At this point, I would like to highlight a very interesting quote of Swamiji. When you have faith in 333 millions of mythological gods, and in all the gods that foreigners have now, and they have introduced into your midst, and still you don't have any faith in yourselves, then there is no salvation for you. Have faith in yourself. Stand up to that faith and be strong. Indeed, his teachings are able to fill new energy within us. And with this newfound belief, we can achieve everything. Swamiji is a source of knowledge. He's a source of positivity. Following that source, we can also achieve the greatest achievement of our life, which is to be a better human being. To be a better person, we need values, strong character, not just trophies and certificates. I intend to learn further, and I hope that someday I'll be able to serve our beloved motherland as instructed by Swamiji to all the Indians. Uttisthata, Jagrata, Prapya Baran Nibodhata. Arise, awake, stop not until your goal is achieved. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Wonderful, Monita. Thank you very much. I hope that you can go back and tell people who were laughing at your English at some point that you made us all inspired with that story, with that message. Brilliant. Right now, the home of VIHE is, of course, the heart and soul of every young Indian and anybody who's connected with Swamiji's thoughts everywhere. But physically, the VIHE is located in Hyderabad. And I think back to back, we'll go with two people who come largely from the greater Hyderabad area. We'll start with Yashashwin YVRS from Secunderabad, and then Shweta Reddy from Hyderabad. I will quickly introduce Yashashwin. All these Dexters who you see are all very senior to Yashashwin in the manner that they're all Dex school graduates from 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Those who are in the current batch who have not graduated yet are called the baby Dexters. So we thought it will be a good idea to tag along a baby Dexter. And the baby Dexter has been doing great. Interestingly, he's one of those people who did not go from the dexterity system to the Ramakrishna mission system. He comes from the Ramakrishna mission system itself. He was the winner of the Yuva Sangharsh competition, which is also called the Swami Vivekananda Leadership Award at the Ramakrishna Mutt. He's been trained within the Ramakrishna Mutt system right from a very young age. And then he got selected into Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship. Very interestingly, this year, he too, in his ACT exam, secured 99 percentile, which is tremendous for any young Indian or anyone in the world to do. I invite Yashashwin YVRS to come in and speak and share his experiences. And right after Yashaswin, we'll go to Shweta. So thank you very much. Over to you, Yashaswin.
Welcome on
This is
board.
home for you.
Yeah, come back
Yes,
home.
Swamiji, thank you very much.
Welcome on board, and I can see that big memento which we gave a couple of years back, and
Yes, Swamiji.
See that Swamiji enters into you, and you grow into a huge tree of success, of happiness, of joy and strength. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Swamiji. Namaskaram to all participants of this very dynamic series celebrating the birth and legacy of Swami Vivekananda, the man and his vision. Thank you for the very kind introduction, Sharat sir. I don't think I really deserve the kind words that you said, but I'll try and live up to all of your expectations. So to the people who do not know me or listening to me for the first time, my name is Yashaswin. I come from the city of Secunderabad, having graduated class 12 from Bhavan Sri Ramakrishna Vidyalaya in Sainikpuri. I was the SAT 99th percentile scorer this December 2020. If there was a phrase that could define my life, it was life coming in full circles. When I entered the portals of Ramakrishna Mutt, I was a thin kid with a funny name who held a crumpled piece of paper and trembled and feared to speak. And exactly 1 year and 2 days ago, I was addressing an audience of 3,000 plus youth across Hyderabad as the outstanding youth leader of Yuva Sangharsh. And soon after that, I got selected for the class of 2020 in Deck School and becoming a D2C fellow. I spent another year working actively with VIHE at the ground level to fashion ideal servant leaders for our society. And now I'm back in this webinar celebrating the work of Dexters around the world. And when Dexterity talks about building local role models, I believe I'm taking one of my first few baby steps in trying to become a role model. I will try and aim to leave all of you with 3 things to think and ponder about at the end of the session, which I'll try largely to explain through incidents. So we have a separate month in Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship dedicated to communication, where we analyze and break down the greatest public speeches of all time. One day during the communication module, I asked a question to Sharat sir, saying that I really don't have any credentials, sir. Will my voice have value if I speak? To which sir replied that a 65-year-old grandmother should be able to recognize the worth in me without looking at a PhD, an award, or other credentials. This really seemed very similar to Swami Vivekananda's sojourn when he came to America. When Swamiji landed in the US of A, he had no other credentials than being a Hindu monk. And he had also lost the address of the World Parliament. When Professor J.H. Wright wrote a recommendation letter for Swamiji, he said that, Swamiji, asking you for credentials is like asking you for the sun for its right to shine. And soon enough, the world recognized the man with a thundering applause. Each one of you has the power of Swamiji. Don't wait for a recommendation letter or a PhD to change the world. You already have the power within you. The second thing the Dexterity mission statement speaks of is connecting young citizens across the world and the country with education, a world-class education, a dexterity education whose core values are public service, nation building, scientific temperament, and spiritual grounding. Something which Swami Vivekananda, also as a realist, identified as the solution for removing all ills of the society. He inspired our youth by saying, so long as the millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor who, having been educated at their expense, doesn't pay heed to them. Let us remember, friends, removing poverty in our country is indeed a great task, but it also has a very spiritual dimension to it. During his itinerant days, Swami Vivekananda understood that an immortal India pulsates not only in its cities, but also among the millions in our villages. So until now, most of the points I speak about look really good on paper. But most of you realists must be wondering, how do we carve a path for ourselves? Where can we implement the core values of a dexterity education in, of course, a real, very dynamic real life system abound with challenges? And it's something that's also at the heart of a subject called entrepreneurship. So before I conclude, I'll share one thing for all of us to think and ponder upon, which demonstrates the answer to my question, something I recently conceptualized and called the pothole example. If there's one thing that Indian or at least Hyderabadi roads are notorious for, then it's the bad quality of roads. And we as citizens and voters often only blame the government for not maintaining them. Let's say there is one pothole on a road you travel every day upon, which troubles you. It's causing you some pain, some anguish. So you, by your own will, decided to go and fill the pothole by yourself. So in the process, you're not relieving only yourself of the pain, but you're also easing the journey of, let's say, another 1,000 people who travel on the road every single day. That means you're easing the lives of 360,000 people a year. Forgive me if my math is bad, but please get the larger idea. Solve the potholes in your own lives. It could be a problem that is personal, professional, or plaguing the society at large. However small it may be, the problem. In this process, you'll be easing and adding value to the lives of millions of people across the world. Friends, remember, we have a great task ahead of us, development. And remember, it's not that villages that have to be brought to cities for development. Rather, development should reach the hearts of each and every hard worker in this country. Jai Hind, Jai Vivekananda, Jai Bharat. Thank you, Sharad sir. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Yashashwin. Very, very, very well put. Going across to Shweta Reddy in Hyderabad, just like Yashashwin went from winning the Yuva Sangharsh competition to getting selected at next school, Shweta is on the other way around. We do not know what will happen in the future. She is a Dex School graduate, was selected in Dex School, came into the dexterity system first. And this year, when Yuva Sangharsh competition went national, it is interesting. And this is a competition that I encourage all of you to participate in, because it is not a competition against each other. It is cooperation with each other to grow with Swamiji's ideal and outshine and outperform, but at the same time, help others to perform and shine. So Shweta is from the Dex School system, of course. Right now, she's in the finals of the Yuva Sangharsh competition that is happening. This year, quite a few kids from the dexterity system had a 99 percentile, and that is an achievement that Shweta has as well. What I have personally been amazed by throughout, see many of these young people, many of their major achievements are waiting to be unlocked and unfurled and introduced to the world soon enough. I've always been inspired by Shweta's calmness, the depth of her thought, and the intensity with which she works and yet remains so calm and simple on the outside. A 99 percentile is just one example. She's currently the president of the South Zone on the Dexterity Alumni Council, and actually one of the youngest presidents for the Alumni Council anywhere in any zone in dexterity. Over to you, Shweta. Please go ahead and enlighten us. Right after Shweta, we'll have 4 young people left, and each one of them is very interesting. And Anthony K. Bugai, scholar from Texas A&M, a 2.5 crore scholarship at Georgetown that Ritik Raj received, a young person who founded a large social media portal, and finally the one young person whose idea was selected by the government of India to run the grievance redressal portal of this country. So those 4 are with us. But before that, let's get started with Shweta. So don't go anywhere. And I'm glad that the numbers are increasing every moment. So make sure your parents tune in, friends tune in, relatives tune in, because good thought anywhere is great thought everywhere. Over to you, Shweta. Congratulations. And your turn.
Welcome on board, Shweta Reddy from Hyderabad. And I wish you all the best in your presentation and in your ideas and how you take Swamiji with you, along with you, and absorbing his spirit, how you'll make a difference in this pandemic times. And in 2021, we would like to see a greater Shweta, a more vibrant Shweta, solving the problems and making a difference in the country. Over to Shweta.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Sharad sir, for those wonderful words. I would just like to add on before I introduce myself to Sharad sir's, the connection between Yashaswin and so I joined Yuva Sangharsh with Yashaswin as my senior, and Yashaswin joined Dexterity with I as his senior. So it's so beautiful that we don't, we feed off of each other's expertise and experiences. So that's what it is. And well, namaste everyone. I'm Shweta Reddy from Telangana. I'm in grade 12. I studied in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Vidyashram, Hyderabad, which was inaugurated by Swami Ranganathanandaji Maharaj. And it was from here that I was introduced to Swami Vivekananda's ideas. And Swami Bodhayanandaji Maharaj lectured at our school quite often. And I think it was through him that in 10th grade, I was introduced to Sharad Sir and dexterity. For me, both dexterity and VIHE are about opportunities, big or small. Whether it is Yuva Sangharsh or Dexterity's Alumni Council, where I'm serving as president, or it is Dex Connect, through which I participated and was also a winner of the BRICS Math competition recently. All of it has started with a choice to pursue such great opportunities with a deep sense of honor, right? And the idea of not dodging, but of welcoming challenges as opportunities to grow. I think it has been one of Swami Vivekananda's loudest messages for me. At Dexterity, we repeat John F. Kennedy's words about the Apollo 11 mission, that we go to the moon and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, right? And these opportunities that were given to me, they've made me challenge a lot of fundamental beliefs. The first belief that was challenged radically was leadership. We learned that you're only as good a leader as your humility and initiative. We learned that no matter in what position you are, you're constantly trying to improve. You're constantly iterating by asking questions like what's working, what's not working, and what you can do better. In academics, in sport, in art, in conversation, in pretty much everything you do. And it was always through these questions that I've studied or practiced anything. So with an alignment with the great ideals of Swamiji and executing through these questions, there's a lot we can get done. And many must have seen on the Dexterity social media page, and as Sharad sir mentioned, I scored a 99th percentile in ACT as well. So talking about ideals that we get aligned to, it is one thing to know these lessons in words, and it is another thing to internalize them, which I'm still in the process of doing. At Dexterity, we don't only read and get inspired by Swamiji's literature. We make a constant effort to understand it. One of our key skills in Dexterity is critical thinking. We don't say we know something unless we have really thought through it critically and assimilated it, right? And that's also what Swami Vivekananda also talks about, that education is not about accommodating random facts in your head, but about assimilating ideas that build you inside out. I think learning is a very personal undertaking, and we preserve the sanctity of the process by making sure we don't rush through or skip steps or casually tell ourselves that we know, right? But what we do know, we strive to put to action. If we are being educated, any one of us, it means we have a responsibility to go out there and work for those without that privilege. And as Swami Vivekananda says, we would be traitors if we don't work for them. So my larger and concluding message for all my fellow school students and youth would be, let's collectively seek challenges and opportunities. Let's collectively keep iterating and assimilating. Let's collectively find ways to use our education. And there's a great chance to build an India, to build an Indian leadership that is truly ours, that we define, that is glorious and blessed, and all these words that Swami Vivekananda used that challenged our fundamental beliefs about ourselves as a country. Because as I see it, Swami Vivekananda was an opportunity unto himself to reflect, to assimilate, to iterate, to just transform yourself, right? And with that, I thank everyone, and of course, Sharad sir and Swamiji for yet another great opportunity to speak alongside such like heroes of mine and present and future nation builders. So thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. This is going brilliantly. We have 4 young people left, and I have spoken a little bit about each one of them. Without wasting much time, we'll go across to a young boy from a small village of Bihar where the first electricity pole came in when it was 2012. At that point in time, Swamiji a lot of times talks about or the message that you can take from Swamiji is of positivity, of action. And this young kid did exactly that. In 2012, when the first electricity pole came to his village, he had a 2G mobile phone, and he hails from Bihar. And Bihar's story was often negatively told in the world, he felt. So he decided to build a social media portal that would tell all positive stories about Bihar. And from there, he went on to build a website and an entire system. And today, several years later, Apna Bihar is one of the largest social media portals in Bihar, telling positive stories about the state. And in the process, he received a full scholarship to study at Delhi School of Journalism. Delhi is where Avinash Kumar is currently pursuing his academic education, formally in journalism now. But when he started this media portal, he wasn't even a journalist. He was just a 12-year-old kid. So over to Avinash, who hails from Bihar, a small village at the border of Sitamarhi and Muzaffarpur, a place I have visited often. And currently he's studying at Delhi School of Journalism in Delhi. Over to you, Avinash. Avinash serves as the president of the class of 2017 at the Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the Alumni Council. So over to you, Avinash.
Yeah, that was a brilliant introduction, and nice to know about the work which Avinash is doing. And on my behalf and behalf of VIHE, I welcome him on board. And the very name of Bihar should change from that mafia Bihar, from the backward Bihar into Buddha's Bihar, into Vivekananda's Bihar, and may Mother India produce more Avinashas, more Sharats, and more Anands to make a difference at the global level and at the international level. Over to Avinash. Welcome on board. Thank you.
Sure, Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you very much, Swamiji. And Sarat sir for a kind introduction. My namaskar to Swami Bodhmayananji Maharaj, Honorable Sri Sarat Vivek Sagar sir, respected Swaraj sir, and all of you who are attending this event virtually across the world. I came from a place which is named after an ancient temple of Lord Shiv called Bhairavasthan. My family is a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and since my childhood, I have been worshipping Vivekanandaji as a avatar of Bhagwan Shiv. So I can't express how much I feel blessed today. It is a great honor for me to have a chance to speak at a holy platform of Ramakrishna Mission Math, which is established by Swamiji himself. So I am very grateful to Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence and Dexterity Global for inviting me here to speak as a young achiever. Let me allow to introduce myself. My name is Avinash Kumar, President of Dex School Class of 2017 and a D2C Fellow. I born and brought up in a small village of Bihar, which is known across the country and world for all wrong reasons. People of the state migrate to other states of India in search of better education and career. But unfortunately, after their migration, they face problems of xenophobia, discrimination, and violence, despite the fact that the Constitution gives every Indian the fundamental right to settle, work anywhere in the country. I couldn't solve all the problem, but as a proud Bihari, I decided to do whatever I could for my state and stereotype about Bihar. Today reaches more than 5 million people per week through its various platform. The world's biggest social media platform, Facebook, has appreciated our work and invited me to its Indian headquarters. I started Apna Bihar in 2012, though I had a lack of self-confidence and was in Dalma between my passion and career. It was the Dex School of 2017 that changed my life, where I have been taught about the values of Swami Vivekananda, learned various leadership skills, and developed a perspective to solve any problems. These things further shaped my character, influenced my thoughts, and made me realize the power of myself. It was Dex School education that empowered my passion with purpose. As Swamiji said, in conflict between heart and brain, follow your heart. On the graduation night of Dex School, I decided to skip the engineering college entrance exam, which was going to be held next day, and made my mind to build my career in the field of journalism and mass communication, to use my strength for bringing positive change in society. Swamiji's spiritual thoughts and continuous mentorship from Dexterity Global are still a guiding force behind my all achievements. As Swamiji said, All the power is within you. You can do anything. This inspired me and my team to take a challenge to help poor, helpless migrant workers when a nationwide lockdown was imposed in March last year. We took a responsibility to raise their voice, brush rumors, and deliver accurate, relevant information like the government's schemes and instruction schedule of trains. But one of the major problem was most of the migrant workers were illiterate, uneducated. So we issued a helpline number through which we help them to get cash benefit from government and empower them with accurate information in their language and connected them to their right places. Today, I can happily say that during the lockdown period, Apna Bihar has reached to 20 million people through our different platforms. I also have been involved in drafting the first youth policy of Gujarat state, which was officially implemented last year on the occasion of National Youth Day. I also work on various policies of Delhi government and recently worked with the Office of Union Minister Sri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji in the Education Ministry of India. The motto of Ramakrishna Mission, which is established by Swami Vivekananda, is Shiv Gyane Jeev Seva. Service of man is worship of God. And in the dexterity system, it is called servant leadership. So I am doing what I trained for. It is a part of servant leadership. My journey of life is just started. Each day, I am trying to make myself better by following the path shown by Swamiji. After I started to think positively, play with my strength, and believe myself, I felt positive changes in my life. All of these ideas I found in the teaching of Swamiji. I think all people should follow this principle of life. At last but not least, I am going to recite a quote from Swamiji, which inspired me the most, and I think it is the crux of my whole story. Take up one idea. Make that one idea your life. Think of it. Dream of it. Live on that idea. Let the brain, muscle, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea and just leave every idea alone. This is the way of success. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Avinash. Thank you very much. I am continuing to check YouTube and the number of viewers is not going down, which is incredible. This is so sustained and people are loving what you have to say, also asking questions. Those of you who have questions can definitely write there. 3 more left. And from one end, a young boy who builds a social media platform to promote positive stories about Bihar and gets recognized by Facebook and other institutions in the process. On the other end, I have the honor of introducing a young gentleman who, when Microsoft announced a logo design competition all across the world, he was the winner of that competition and Microsoft actually chose that particular logo for that particular product. Then this year, when the government of India announced a competition to build a grievance redressal portal for common citizens, his idea was one of the 6 ideas that were honored in Delhi in the presence of several senior leaders, Delhi or Mumbai, either of the two. Pardon me if I'm wrong on that. But Basu has continued to work on technology interventions that can help make human lives better. And these two are just 2 examples. On one end, Microsoft choosing a logo that this kid designs. On the other end, the government of India choosing his idea as one of the 6 ideas that would go on to inspire the grievance redressal portal of the government. Over to you, Basu. And I want to make a quick remark there. At Dexterity, except for me, everybody else comes from within the Dexterity system. So Swaraj sir comes from within the Dexterity system. Just like that, Basu helps us with technology within the Dexterity system and has been a full-timer. And now hopefully he is planning to go for graduate studies at one of the top schools in the world to study computer science further. But over to you, Basu. Congratulations on the 2 achievements mentioned and ideas you want to put forward. When Basu is busy in the office and not speaking to anyone, and if you go and if you peep into his laptop, he'll be reading about Swamiji's brother monks. I'm not even making this up. This is true. Every time we go, we ask him, what are you doing? So he says, I'm reading about brother monks of Swamiji. So he'll read about Swami Akhandanandji Maharaj, he'll read about Swami Brahmanandji Maharaj. So he's been very influenced, not just by Swamiji, but everyone, like each one of the brother monks. So Basu is a very interesting person to have around, to have mentored, seen grow within the system, and finally work with us, and then again, go back to further technology. Over to you, Basu.
Yeah, welcome on board, Basuji. And nice to know about you and your support system, your contribution, personal, national, and international also. We are very proud, and Swamiji will be very, very happy. And I'm sure he's listening now. He's here now, listening to each one of you and blessing you because he's a voice without a form. The spirit of Swamiji will work with all of you. And I'm very glad to meet every youngster of trained by dexterity than others listening to you. Welcome on board and all the best to Basuji.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Sarath sir. My pranams to Thakur Ma and Swamiji, Swami Bodhmayananda Ji Maharaj, Sharath sir, and everyone who blessed us with their presence. It is an ashirwad for me to be here and share some of Swamiji's ideas and how it has inspired me. My name is Pasu. I was born in Patna and I graduated from University of Delhi. Recently, when Government of India invited suggestions for its citizen grievance portal by Prime Minister's office, I was chosen as one of the 6 winners after I developed a mobile application for grievance redressal platform, receiving the award in Mumbai. And when Microsoft launched the Global Hour of Code campaign to educate young people to how to code, I was chosen as the winner of their design contest for that campaign, which Microsoft used worldwide, and was later invited by Microsoft to mentor young people in one of the largest hackathon of the world on different technology stacks. In this small journey so far, I have realized it was the blessings of Swamiji that helps me keep going. In 2014, I had the chance of attending one of Dexterity Global's platform, Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, Dex School. It was built on the ideas and ideals of Swamiji. And through Dex School, I was introduced to a vision of service and building myself to build others. Through Dexterity, I was given the chance to put my education to use, enabling young kids to make the best out of what we as a community have to offer. There has not been a single day in the Dexterity system when I haven't seen Swamiji's message living inside us or our work. When I got the chance to read about our brother monks, it was a moment of realization for me. It gave me a sense of how serving the nation is and should be the greatest duty of ours and the call of this time. We are what we are because of our worth and because we stand for each other. If you look at it, our mission's work and values, this is what our nation, India, needs in the critical moment. On January 12th, National Youth Day, I had the chance to go inside one of our ashrams. While it might have been the first time that I visited one of our ashrams in person, I was always surrounded by Swamiji's work around me. It made me realize that my duty calls me to devote my time to serving mankind. I may be too young to say this, but I see no other way to make India one of the greatest nations in this world. But before that, I also know that I have to build myself better every single day. I always try to incorporate technology in serving my community. In college, I had a chance to build a nationwide blood donation system and use that to connect thousands of blood donors with people who needed blood. It was the teachings of Dexterity and Sharath sir that made me use my education and knowledge of technology in serving our society. I believe technology is just a tool and enabler. It is people like us who create magic with their passion and ingenuity. Swamiji inspired the foundation of Indian Institute of Science IIS, and since then it has broken many barriers to evolve us in the field of science and technology. The 21st century India needs investment in deep science, math, and technology. A line of computer code can connect two people living thousands of kilometers away. And when I see our young kids studying and reading passionately about new innovations in the field of technology, I want them to not just read about it, but also find the right place to make use of that technology. When our values, the Indian values, will meet the technology of the 21st century, it will have the power to right our wrongs and build a better nation. India needs our commitment to Seva. It needs our education, deeply rooted in our dreams, to serve this country. If there is one thing that I hope for everyone to take with them is that India needs our science and our maths. It needs the code we write and the art we draw. It needs the hope we preserve and the dreams we foster. I have committed myself in this life to serve this country and the world with my education and the people I have the honor to learn from and work with, including Sharad sir. It gives me happiness and immense fulfillment and a sense of belonging. I would not have imagined the joy it gives when I see a young kid do good and act as a local role model for her or his community. This is what drives me to keep doing what I do. I'm humbled beyond measures to have been given a chance to share a few things about me and how Swamiji's ideas have shaped me. It was wonderful to be here, and I offer my pranams to Sharad sir, Swami Bodhmayananda Ji Maharaj, Thakur Ma, and Swamiji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, Basu. And we have finally two people left. I'll introduce the first one, and then after her, we'll have the next one coming in. All these dexterity alumni, they have studied across different continents. Their heart remains centrally located right here in India. They all return after their education and they work in different fields. And these alumni, the Alumni Council has a global president and a global vice president, actually co-presidents at both levels. The two people who remain, who haven't spoken yet, include the president of the Global Alumni Council of Dexterity Global, and that is Snehal Naval. It is very interesting that both the co-presidents of Dexterity's Alumni Council are female. We were able to invite one right now. Hopefully in one of the future sessions, we'll invite the other one as well. She's also very bright and talented. So Snehal, and the other one remaining is Ritik Raj. Ritik Raj serves as the global vice president of the Alumni Council and recently made national news. My phone was ringing all the time because everybody was calling me saying, we have heard Ritik Raj speak on Aaj Tak and all these television channels. We want to see how our kids can get into the dexterity system. So I've kept Ritik for, the last, hopefully. We'll go across to Snehal Naval. Snehal is an incredible role model. She'll hopefully speak about herself. She studied at the #1 public university in the United States, the Texas A&M, the university. While she was there, she was one of the 28 young students studying in the United States selected to go to Africa and build the entrepreneurship empowerment program for African people. She was a team leader and she spent one entire summer building entrepreneurship empowerment program for African citizens. Besides that, she has shared the stage with powerful people like Indira Nooyi on International Women's Day as on the stage as one of the role models speaking. She organized TEDx at Texas A&M. That was another interesting thing that she did. And she was the Anthony K. Bugai Scholar while she was studying there. She too, when she was much younger, was a member of the National Society of High School Scholars. She has several feathers to her cap. Some notable ones include being the person leading the team that did entrepreneurship empowerment in Africa over the summer, where she spent 2 months. Where the other one is, of course, being on stage for International Women's Day with somebody as powerful as Indira Nooyi. And right now, she returned after her graduation. She returned to India. Now she's working for the farmers' cause with a startup that works especially in the agriculture sector with farmers. So these are young people who are putting their education to use as servant leaders. Over to Snehal Naval, and then we'll have the final one left, and that is Ritik Raj, who recently received a 2.5 crore scholarship to study at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. We'll come to Ritik in a little while from now. Over to you, Snehal. The stage is all yours.
Yes, welcome on board, Snehal ji. You are joining us from Mumbai, right?
Yes, yes.
That has been fantastic listening to your achievements. And then, as Swamiji said, my faith is in the younger generation, the modern generation, and you are one of them, and all the co-panelists also are one of them. And hope we'll make a strong team to take India from darkness to light. All the best.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sharad sir, for such a kind introduction. And thank you, Swamiji, for having me here and everyone else. I feel really honored and really blessed to be in all of yours presence and listen to each one of you talk about your journey at dexterity and talk about your learnings from Swamiji's lives and wisdom. I think I would want to talk a little bit about my journey at dexterity, where it started. I remember when I was 13, I was standing in my school assembly and I heard someone speak on the stage. And that man was talking about building the next generation of leaders. And there was something so moving in the speech that he made. That I just wanted to be associated with him, know more about him, and essentially know more about the school of thought that he came from. And since then, I had been following Sharad sir in Dexterity Global very closely. And like Swaraj sir pointed out, in our city, like everyone knew Sharad sir and everyone was aspiring to be like him. He was the ideal high schooler or middle schooler, and everyone just idealized him. So I think I followed him very closely till one day I myself got the opportunity to meet him in person and be a part of Dex School. So in 2016, I got the opportunity to be a part of Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship. When I applied for Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, I almost believed that it will be like a workshop where you go and you learn about business and building a business or a startup. And that's all it's going to be. But to my surprise, and a very pleasant surprise, and it was one of the most transforming 7 days of my life. There we learned about Swamiji's wisdom values. There we learned about being true to ourselves and staying grounded through our achievements and believing in ourselves through our failures. And I think what I learned at Dex School has stayed with me since then. And while all of us always want to come to dexterity and be in the system from earlier than we actually got to, I think I was very, very fortunate to become a part of the system at the age of 16 when I was about to start my journey as a college student. And now that I'm working, I think all through those years and even now, I think I love the fact that I continue to be a part of the system, a part of such young, amazing people, and definitely being mentored by Sharad sir and Swaraj sir, where we're not only taught these values, but constantly reminded that learning these values or claiming to be a part of a school of thought or be a part of dexterity is not enough. We have to constantly make actionable steps and constantly make an effort to practice these values and to practice everything we are taught at dexterity. And I think I'm very fortunate to interact with each one of you on a daily basis or a regular basis, to interact with Sir and Swaraj sir on a regular basis, where I am constantly reminded of the same. And I can always be nudged in the right direction if needed. And I think that's one of my most prized and possessions here. And I think one of the biggest things and the biggest learnings I've had at Dexterity, and which is inspired by Swamiji's thoughts, is servant leadership. So be it, organizing an event like TEDx at my university or speaking on a big platform, I think I've always tried to practice and tried to be a servant leader. I've always tried to be a servant to the people who are serving me, or it seems like are serving me. And I think I am still in my journey to fully assimilate and to fully internalize each of these values. And I am very, very honored and glad to be a part of such an amazing group of people who constantly remind me of these values. And I am looking forward to listening to Ritik. And I had a great time listening to all of your journeys and learning more and more about Swamiji. I'm also looking forward to being associated with VIHE and learning about Swami Vivekanand through Swami Bodhmayanandji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderfully put. The final young speaking this. no particular order. Just try to make sure east and west, north and south, young, incoming Dexter, and very old. It turned out this way. I have the great honor of introducing Ritik, who I have personally seen grow and mature over the years. Ritik Raj recently made news when he received a 2.5 crore scholarship to study at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., consistently ranked #1 in the world for international relations, for political science. And in last 60 years, Georgetown has given America 2 presidents. Lyndon Johnson, he came from Georgetown University and the civil rights in 1960. Other one, largely very popular, Bill Clinton. 2 presidents in the last 60 years. And there goes this kid from a small village from Bihar with a full scholarship of use for Ritik. He competed at national and international, was still in standard. He has
Sharath, your frequency is low now. Bandwidth.
Apologize, much, but so overall, over to Ritik Raj. Ritik's recent most achievement is receiving a full scholarship to study at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Over to you, Ritik, please.
Yeah, welcome on board, Ritik ji. Bahut acha laga. And Swamiji's faith, Swamiji's vision, and his blessings will be on you, and hope to see you blooming and growing into an enlightened citizen of this universe and make Mother India proud. Ritik ji, namaste. Welcome. Please start.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your Ashirwad, Maharaj. And thank you so much for such a kind introduction, Sharath sir. My name is Ritik Raj and I'm from Patna, Bihar. It is truly the honor of a lifetime to be here today among such extraordinary people who are serving India and the world, inspired by the ideologies of Swami Vivekananda and guided by the values of Vedanta. I was born in a small village of Bihar, grew up in the city of Patna, and will now be receiving an education in foreign service from Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. on a full scholarship worth 2.5 crores. The values I learned from Swamiji has ensured that I do not see my education as an end, that I understand the responsibility that comes with my education, and that I respect the privilege that has been bestowed upon me. I was 13 when I was first introduced to the values and visions of Swami Vivekananda, when I heard Sharath sir deliver a speech at my school in Patna. At the age of 16, when I was selected for the Dexterity School of Leadership and Entrepreneurship, on the very first day, we were told the story of early men and taught what we should learn from them. Inspired by the values of Swamiji, we were taught how character is the most important thing a human being can inherit, how God lies within each human, and how selfless service with deep perfection is a way to reach a state of being that is greater than ourselves. Before Dex School, I had represented India at Yale University in the United States and at debate competitions in Thailand. But it was through the spiritual and scientific teachings of Tech School that I truly saw the world for the first time. When I was preparing for college, my mentors at Dexterity to College continued to teach me how building myself was more important than building my college application, how my education should not be an end, but only the beginning of our journey of nation building, and how a constant strive for perfection is the only way to become fully human. And I was reminded each day that being honest should never be an excuse for being incompetent. If there is one thing I have learned from my mentors, Sharath sir and Swaraj sir, who have put in decades of hard work and sweat to create men and women of character who can live guided by the values of Swami Vivekananda, is that being human is the most important and yet the most difficult task one can ever do. And that if we do not use our education to serve our nation, to uplift other people, and to create a better world, it would not just be considered a laid-back attitude, but would also be a disservice to the entire nation. While being a part of the Dexterity Network, I've had the great honor of meeting extraordinary men and women from around the country who, inspired by the ideologies of Swamiji, have been serving their local communities through their education and leadership. Their selfless service can be considered as a small act of kindness. Their actions might not change the world in a single day, but their service will definitely go on to inspire millions of other young people whose collective efforts would make sure that India realizes its full potential in this very century. Ever since we were young kids, we were taught to become great human beings and to seek all the glory the world has to offer. And as we seeked all those glories, we forgot that becoming human is the first step towards becoming a great human. We often forget that the world needs more good people and that good people with ethical leadership can change the world. So as we learn, grow, and serve through our education, we should continuously strive to further build ourselves and strive for purity and perfection in whatever we do. Because purity and perfection can never exist in isolation of each other. Thank you so much once again for giving me this once in a lifetime opportunity to be here today. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Nicely done. Brilliant. I am just amazed at what everyone had to say. I think this should happen more often. I respectfully leave it for Swamiji to take it forward. But Swamiji, thank you so much for inviting us. And this was good education for me as well. It has re-energized me for the next 12 years. So this is brilliant. Swamiji, over to you.
As Swamiji said, bombshells, bombshells, each one is a powerful bombshell today. And the kind of response and things by our devotees, etc., is amazing. Proud to hear about most revered Swami Ranganathanji through these young, talented future leaders. Great work is going on silently. Congratulations. Ramakrishna Math produced world-class young leaders. And there is a young man watching is Aryaman Kumar. He is Avinashji's classmate in Delhi. He said, both of us are studying at the University of Delhi, motivating to hear him and all the wonderful young achievers and earth-shaking speakers of today. And Aryaman Kumar has got a question. Sharath or anybody can represent that and answer. This session has stirred me to do something positive for India. What can I do? What should I do? How to get associated with dexterity? I have the will, but how to channelize it? Please respond. Anybody can respond to that?
I think doing something for India, each one of them have mentioned it again and again. Wherever you are, stay involved in service, do something meaningful, and try to use your education towards offering leadership that is basically being useful to anyone, anywhere. As far as being involved with dexterity is concerned, you can go to dexterityglobal.org and you can look at the programs page. From being connected to opportunities to different training modules that the organization has, including Dex School that was being talked about, you can check out all the platforms there. But in general, follow Swamiji, read Swamiji's teachings, stay involved with VIHE and dexterity in whatever ways you can. But most importantly, have a seva mindset, have a servant leader mindset.
Yeah, fantastic. So all the young achievers, thanks to the inspired and motivating talks of young achievers and modern leaders of India, honored to listen to Sharath and others. So this is where we have shared the global ideas of Swamiji, the penetrating ideas of Swamiji from different background, different zones. And it's a beautiful bouquet that we have offered to Swamiji on his birthday, right? Sri Ramakrishna was like an expert gardener. He said, I picked up the flowers, the best flowers, the unsmelt flowers from the garden of life and have offered it to Mother Kali. That 16 flowers that he took, Swamiji, Brahmananda, Turyananda, and all that, they were all, each is a planet, each can make a difference, but they remained quiet and deep inside their heart, roots went and then they blossomed. The Swamiji was outstanding and more expressive in these in the modern times. That's why Swamiji is taken. I am amazed that who is that? Basu is reading Swamiji's brother monks, and there's a book called Vivekananda's Loving Relationships with His Brother Disciples. I don't know whether you got it or not. Basuji, I'm going to send it to you. And I'll send it to everybody.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All my young brothers and sisters. My personal Sankranti gift and National Youth Day gift, each one will get that book, and you'll know the love of Swamiji, that how he expressed through his brother disciples. Okay, so that will be very interesting, and I have no words to say. Only Aryaman Kumar, who answered the question, is I am in political science honors at Avinash ji is in journalism. I believe, hope to hear him in Delhi also. So Avinash, it's your responsibility to bridge that. थोड़ा देखिए उनके साथ कुछ कीजिए.
Sure,
पॉलिटिक्स में थोड़ा साइंस आना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो गड़बड़ चल रहा है.
बिल्कुल सही.
Maharaj, I was thinking after.
Yeah, Sharat.
Ji, Maharaj, you were speaking, Maharaj.
Yeah, what I was.
Maharaj, I was thinking after hearing them, I was thinking dexterity should send them to different parts of the country to go and speak.
Yes.
Like instead of me traveling all across the country, they should go, and in each zone they should start their speeches. They will motivate so many people with their personal example. And Swamiji's ideas they'll take everywhere.
Swadhyaya pravanabhyam na pramaditavyam. Continue to study and to spread the message. And what we can get to know from all of you is you are trying to find out the truth in the right place. That's very, very important. Finding the truth in the right place makes a lot of difference. Otherwise, as Sri Ramakrishna said, we are rowing an anchored boat. And in the hope of doing something, we ourselves are stranded. And that is also very important. Hard work, okay, but then the smart work of untying the rope so that this one is going forward. The boat is going forward in the, whether it's a tsunami, whether it's a cyclone, whether it's things, that radar, that compass, everything is being provided to you through Swamiji and through the different programs that you are attending. I'm very happy to be part of this, knowing you all, though our two youngsters from Hyderabad are my close friends, and now getting connected with everybody in this through this today's webinar, right? So Swamiji's dream is slowly getting concretized. So many wonderful people. This is where real message has to spread. The media has to take this message, and aapka Bihar nahi, aapka Bharat bhi aisa karna padega. So we have to work on this and reduce that negativity, reduce that lust, greed, etc. amongst the youth also. Channelize it for higher purposes, channelize it for purer purposes, and that will, I think, will make the real offering to Swamiji. Okay, as he again and again said, truth, purity, and unselfishness. If these three things are there, no power can conquer the world. No power, nobody can crush you. Nobody can do anything. So I would just like to say, take this. Let us take this dialogue forward. Tomorrow, if you are able to connect to us, you will be meeting two very interesting professionals at the senior level. One is Mr. Sridhar Vembuji, founder of Zoho Corporation. He comes from the most backward areas in Tanjavur in Tamil Nadu, who has risen to that high levels of excellence, and Swamiji's dream of a resurgent India he is fulfilling. And then from Infosys HR, Krish Shankarji will be there in the evening to speak on a very important topic, relevance of values in the corporate world, relevance of this one. You will get that link, etc. This is my one invitation to all of you. And what I thought, Sharad, just now, as it just popped up in my mind, is on Sunday, as Gopi Chand has accepted the invitation to be part of the webinar. Then our own Yuva Sanghar students, I call them the alumni of Yuva Sanghar, alumni of VIHE, and we can have a in-house dialogue and bring about, they're wonderful people. Pratik Manudhanya is there, and we have Subramaniam, Subbu we call him, and couple of people I'll recommend. I'll call them on board, and all of you can join for an hour or two on a Sunday morning, and then amalgamate, bring about a symbiosis bring about a symbiosis. This is a spiritual university, right? Which can reach far and wide. That is required. That was Vivekananda's dream also, to start a university, to remove superstitions, to remove the untouchability, all that negativity, that maya, that avarana, that is this one, covering the mind. That is our responsibility also, to bring Swamiji into proper perspectives. So we'll discuss over it, and then Sunday morning, hopefully by 11 o'clock, for an hour or two, we can chat, we can interact, and then see how strong next 2021 and the few future webinars can be more dynamic, to involve more youth and more professionals for the country. I think with that note, there's a great initiative, Sharatji. Keep spreading the power of knowledge and keep transforming the lives of millions of Indian fellows. From Madhavi. Can I also get the education of Swamiji? Yes. Varun Kumar Singh has asked, can I also get the education of Swamiji? Varun, yes, you can. You should and you must. It is very important. It is as important as the vaccine for corona. So vaccine for corona may arrest the corona, but then the mind corona is there, which cannot be removed by only simple things. We need that sharpness, that penetrativeness of Swamiji, that power of purity, power of brahmacharya, power of stability of Swamiji. No, as I keep telling people, Jesus Christ said, if the salt loses its saltness, is it worth calling it salt? Not at all. It's dry powder. Throw it out of the window, he said. If the sugar loses its sweetness, is it worth calling it sugar? Not at all. It is chalk powder. Throw it out of the window. And then I added to that, if man loses his manliness, is it worth calling him a man? But we do not throw him out of the window. Either we put him in dexterity or put him in human excellence. Okay. Objective things, okay, when they are broken, when they are destroyed, put them out in the dustbin, they will become part of nature, they become manure, or they get submerged in the ocean. But here is a man, here is our inner drive, that a simple shake, a simple problem should not make us addicts or make us dramatists or make us, as Shakespeare said, fair faces and foul hearts. That should not be our dream of a youth. So it should be inside out, the glow. Prashant Sinha has asked, how can I get guidance? How can I get guidance at several times on WhatsApp, but didn't get any response? Sharatji, there's a small note here. I messaged Sharatji several times on WhatsApp, but didn't get any response. Kindly guide, sir. Prashant Sinha.
Gigi, thank you so much for the allegation. It is sometimes tough to respond to each person individually on WhatsApp, but you can directly Dex Connect yourself. Dex Connect will send you all educational opportunities, scholarships, whatever is there that particular month. You will get that. Go to dexterityglobal.org/programs. I try my very best to respond to every person individually, but close to 10 lakh children receive Dex Connect within their classrooms. Up to 65 lakh receive it in some way or the other. If I was to personally respond to each one, even a second would mean 65 lakh seconds of my life. So I hope you will forgive me for that. But go to dexterityglobal.org/programs, or just go to the website. From the programs, you can connect with any program. Just like that, go to VIHE, search Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence or RKM Hyderabad, and you can get connected to programs there as well.
Yeah,
so please use the website when the email or WhatsApp is not working. Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody asked, I can just suggest Sarvesh Raj. Tell us some books from where we can learn the thoughts of Swamiji. Sarvesh, I think you should read. I don't know whether you, by our people on panel, have read that book, Swami Vivekananda, The Man and His Message. In fact, that was the first book which was published. Swamiji in different parameters, different factors, as a conversationalist, as a musician, as a singer, as a poet, as a monk, as a philosopher. Short paragraphs, chapters are there. It is worth listening, reading that. Sarvesh, you can start reading with that. Then take the biography of Swamiji in 2 volumes, in whatever language you like to, then go in for the conversations of Swamiji. That's how the reading has to take place. The biography, the reminiscences of Vivekananda, the letters of Vivekananda. But once I request everybody who is participating, listening, your friends and colleagues and relatives and neighbors, do not go into the teachings of Swamiji straight away without the biography. The Jivita Ghada, the Jivita Charitra is very important. The story is very important. How a Narendra of the Simuli area of Calcutta rises up to become the world's ambassador, Vishwa Manava. That man in the making, how he was groomed into into that global leader by Sri Ramakrishna. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna, beautiful, Vivekananda very emotionally submitted his tribute to his guru. He said, if I had not met that man, if I had not met my master, when I was in the ripe age of 18, under several pressures and tensions and worries in the society, I would have become only a bundle of selfish, foolish emotions. These are Swamiji's words. I would have become a bundle of selfish, foolish emotions. I would have just gone rampant. I've just gone heavy. But Sri Ramakrishna molded me, trained me, purified me, and made me mother's child and sent me rolling like waves in this ocean of life. So study Swamiji's biography in detail before 4th February. Try to complete it, because 4th February again is Swami Vivekananda's birthday according to the Tithi, according to the star. We call it the Vivekananda Jayanti. It's not a public meeting, but a spiritual day for meditation, puja, bhajan, etc. So before 4th February, try to read Vivekananda's biography and then get in touch with us, and we shall guide you with more literature and more to give you a proper direction where how you can assimilate the spirit of Swamiji and work for Swamiji and become one of these top influential leaders of this great nation. So we are highly stimulating for me personally to meet all of you. I've heard a lot about you, but seeing personally, even Swaraj was only on audio, today is on video also. So, so nice meeting.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And personally to Kusha, to everybody. Oh, sorry. Okay, just for my happiness. Okay, let me start my thanks and my greetings rather to Swaraj, to Shweta, to Akanksha, to Kushi, to Snehal, to Monita, Abhinav Singh, Yashaswin, Aditya Singh, Basu, Avinash Kumar, Ritik Raj, and my own younger brother, Sharat Vivek Sagar. So nice meeting everybody, and Shubharatri to all of you. And please join if possible tomorrow evening, same time, 6 o'clock. Or we can plan a unique session on Sunday morning and see that we'll spend a little more time in discussing more positive, practical and pure ideas. Okay? Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyor Ma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Rama Krishna Arpanavastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you, Shubharatri, and happy Sankranti to everybody, and meet again and again. May Swamiji bless you. May Sri Ram.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you. It has been done.
Our pranams, Maharaj. Thank you so much.